So you see them, because the whole idea is that they should operate there as you're operating in a normal, natural setting, environment, not going to one place to dump people with disabilities and leaving them. To have people, normal children, students, working together and assist the responsibility of issues of discipline. For security, normally the issue of what we do with security on those matters is not something that we can stay here to say this is what is going on. But I want to inform you that the security people are fully with us. Government has directed action, proper action, and the security are really working, and they give us report from time to time. We were told of a possible clash on the 11th of November last year, that some students from one school or the other wanted to cause problem, and it was just a discussion with the security, and the issue was properly handled. So we are working hand in hand with the security, and so far I must praise them for the partnership and the cooperation we've had. But I must say too that we still have to appeal to the parents. We still have to appeal to the parents, because as we speak now, of a parent who went to a school to challenge a teacher. You see, we are not really encouraging corporal punishment, but I think if parents have cause to go to school, they should go and discuss. They should go and discuss. That's why parents should go to school. Not only maybe until a child has a problem, they now rush and harass the principal and tell the principal, you don't know who I am, you don't know where I am, you don't know the type of... That's not what the principal or the teacher wants to hear. The teacher will also be interested if you go into a school. Please, how is my child faring? Look at his results, doing well in this. So who is the teacher? I wanted to confer with the teacher and see if there could be some improvement and so on. So for issue of discipline, my position is still that it's a collective responsibility. We can mold our children from all directions, from the parents, from the teachers. We like I said earlier, we have trained teachers who are also parents, experienced teachers who are also parents. They will not naturally, intentionally want to harm any child or put under their care. But if there are any issues, there is no need, because if you get into a school and by the time you leave harassing everybody, they say, oh, the father is a major in the army. I'm just using that as an example. He's so high person in government. People may decide to fold their arms. No, I'm not going to talk to any... I don't want problem, or let me face and teach my subject and go. No, it's not supposed to be. There should be cooperation between home and the school.
Thank you so much, Honorable Commissioner. Please, another worrisome problem in Akwa Ibom State that you may know is the question of that despite the fact that there is free education policy in the state, you still have a number of out-of-school children roaming the streets and hawking during school hours. There's a child right act in place in this state, and you discover that this thing, is not properly enforced. So, what is your ministry doing to regulate the school system, and then to really incorporate these ones on the streets to be educated?
I have said at a different forum that the government provides free education, realizing the fact that they need to provide access to basic education. There is need to provide access to basic education. And Somebody was saying I am accusing parents and all that. No, I'm appealing, always appealing to parents. Because normally, sometimes past, we had task force on loitering. Somehow he was abused. Somehow he was abused. Just like he was talking about cultism. You'll find out that we have a situation within the metropolis where you see some, well, maybe students in quotes, they go around the town. If you see them with bags, you open and you see 2 sets of uniforms, and you cannot really say the school they belong. And these are the ones that create a lot of problems. They belong to that cult group. So anytime they can change, become students. Another time they can change and wear mufti and become what they want to become. So what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, government says, go, allow children to go to school. And a parent decides to ask the child to go out in the morning and hawk. And it's also expected that maybe government will set up a committee and bring out funds to go around, pursuing children, take them maybe to a police station, and they say, well, who is your mother, who is your parent, why it doesn't allow you to go to school? And some people say, well, if our parents are punished, the others will not do it. But my position is, must we go to that extent? A lot of enlightenment has been done over the 8 years of free education. And parents are still not allowing the young ones to go to school. We discovered during monitoring that some of these students and pupils affected are living with some of their relations, aunties and uncles and all that, and they are still being used as house helps. So sometimes you see them go to school late. Sometimes they don't go at all because they stay in the house. We've had practical examples. You go to school. 2 weeks ago, I persistently went to one school 3 days. Every morning I'll report there by 8. Because I keep on seeing students in the uniform of that particular school after 8 o'clock when they should be in classes. So I go there, principal, what are you doing about this? Don't need to discuss that. Even some teachers also report late. I say, okay, today amnesty, tomorrow I'm coming back here. At least there was improvement. And the following day I'll still come. I went there again for 3 days consecutively. So when I saw that some students were still coming to school late, I decided to talk to some of them. Say, my auntie, sometimes you find that some of them don't even eat because they are living with somebody who will say, if you don't do this, you will not eat in this house. If you don't hawk, if you didn't go to sell this thing, where would I get money to buy food for you? So if you like, you can go to your school. If you don't like. But I know that if these children were staying with their real parents, no parent will do that. But then, whether they are your nephews or your nieces and all that, and you are taking a child to stay with you, one, what you are doing, naturally, morally, very wrong. If the state provides free and compulsory education and you keep your child, or is your uncle's child as house help, because we've been saying, oh, our children are no longer house helps in Lagos, in Ibadan, in Port Harcourt, but many of them are still house helps here at home. We are still keeping them in slavery. So I still tell our parents, appeal to them, help the government. The government is helping you. That is what I can say, because I think the issue of setting up task force to run around pursuing people, for me, it looks barbaric. It looks barbaric. We are in a democracy, and people should begin to adhere to take, the opportunity that government is providing. It's good for us that our children should have access to education.
Thank you, Honorable Commissioner. I think bringing you into Udum Emmanuel's administration is a square peg in a square hole. So I want to say that with your wealth of experience in education, we are going to have a better deal in the next few days to come. But I'm particularly interested about the pictures that were circulated online. One of the guys said he spoke with the headmaster of the school, and the headmaster said they have about 8 teachers or so, which means we don't have enough teachers in those schools. But the principal also remarked that there are enough books. So what is the Ministry of Education doing, sir, about the issue of employing more teachers to go into our public schools?
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate you, and I keep on saying so. The pressmen go around schools, because some of the things you notice is also helping us. That's why where you can see that you have books, maybe you don't have teachers. Sometimes you have teachers, may not have enough books, because I think yesterday we were out in the field, and we also saw classes with dual desk, but the students were not very many. So maybe the president do not need to record and report those ones. But definitely we appreciate the ones that we feel when you bring to the fore, we can easily look at possible intervention. But I must tell you that from time to time, as the need, and teachers are posted to school based on enrollment. So for our secondary school, 2 years ago there was recruitment, and there was another approval for recruitment which the government is looking at now, and that process is going to be done based on critical areas of need, particularly areas like mathematics, English language, and so on. And what we are recommending to government now is that we are not going to stay until maybe after 2-3 years. We recommend that we are going to review the situation and allow possibly annual recruitment as teachers retire, as we have vacancies, just like it's done in the main civil service. As we have vacant positions, we also recommend to government. So that's why we are working hard to ensure that we have accurate records, so that we can say at a go, presently we have about 6,000 teachers in the secondary school system. How many of them in mathematics? We have about 300 or 400. We have this. So at the end of the year of the school session, this number has retired. So we can now tell government, you don't have to wait until we have to recruit 2,000, 4,000, which will be a big load on the government when you look at the financial implication. So we can tell government about 20 teachers, 40 have retired. We can recommend 100 or 70, because normally you know that the ones that retire must have been up to level 16 or 15. But if you want to recruit, you are coming to recruit those on level 8 or 9. So you can recruit even more based on the number that have retired. So we are working at that. You know, my parent secretary was the director of school services in the State Secondary Education Board, and is now the helm of affairs in the ministry. So I think we have a very strong team that is working on this issue. That is one policy we have worked out, and we're going to recommend to government to ensure that we don't have to wait until after 2-3 years. So annually we'll get some teachers into the system. For the primary school system, we are coming up with a policy of ensuring that we use teachers that are specialized in certain areas. You know, just like similar to what we have in the secondary school now. So that if you have NCA mathematics, instead of staying in one class, you get that teacher to teach mathematics to many classes, so that they can get the foundation right from that time. NC or BEd English, because we have them in the primary school. That's why I keep on saying the public school is where you have the experienced and qualified teachers. So instead of allowing somebody with NCE basic science stay in one class teaching music and teaching physical and health teaching, all that, you allow him to take the science that he has, the idea, what he has learned. He will take that. Mathematics, you go, because I know that not all teachers are good in mathematics, but if you allow of children to stay in that class and you force that person to be teaching mathematics because he's a teacher of that class, it doesn't really help the system. So it may not give you the good result, the result we expect. So we are also trying to rearrange this to the extent that in a particular school, you don't need so large a number of teachers. I'm not saying we are not going to do recruitment, but government is what we have presently so that we know exactly what we need. So we are not going to do recruitment blindly because we need teachers. We just say, okay, recruitment, take 4,000, take 5,000. What do we need? And that is where we are now, and that's what we are doing.
Honorable Commissioner, we have a question here from Inufon Iyang. He says, what are government plan to attract corporate bodies to invest in the education development?
Can you give us a stretch of 3 so we can take it and then thank you, because we have a lot of here which you have seen.
Okay, your question again.
What are government plans to attract corporate bodies to invest on education development in the states?
Okay, we have one from Michael Goodluck Bassey. What is the fate of ICT in our post and tertiary institutions? Recent result from National Bureau of Statistics, which puts us in the of the country.
That's coming from Lagos.
Yes. Michael Goodluck Bassey. Then another one from Michael Ibia. Why can't the government stop deducting local government revenue from the joint state and local government account so that the local government will have enough funds to run their areas, especially in regards to education?
Let me take some of them now so that corporate bodies, we have so many of them already partnering with government. Many of them. ExxonMobil has been partnering with government in various areas, training in particular. About 2 months ago, we had the training sponsored by ExxonMobil. That's why I'm saying our teachers are really, they have the capacity. 800 teachers across, 400 in primary, 400 in secondary, carefully selected in key areas: mathematics, English, science. They did that across the 3 senatorial districts, partnership with ExxonMobil under the auspices of Science Teachers Association of Nigeria. We had training sponsored by an organization called Leeds Africa, sponsored by an Australian embassy in Nigeria. 2 weeks ago, we had training for 2 weeks from resource persons from National Mathematical Center, sponsored by the MDG. And they were here for 2 weeks, and they did something marvelous. I think very soon we'll have opportunity for us to showcase what the math teachers that were involved in that training, and even our students, because we had 120 students that were involved during the training, and they tell you they can recite the mathematical table, what they call with the speed of light. That they sit down here and tell you 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 4, and you cannot even some of the things they do mentally using abacus. After using that thing for about 2 weeks, they can now just mentally say, okay, you sit there and say 2 plus 2, 4, 5 minus 6 minus 7, and they give you the answer. I mean, Akwa Ibom students after that training. So that's why, as a ministry, we are making a recommendation. We are going to partner with them to have even if it's in a micro setting, an academy, similar to what they have in Abuja. Because apart from what they do, we also want to create a center where we can bring out our best in the spirit of Dakada. You go out to the schools there and you still find students that are gifted. Students that are gifted. You know, that was the setting of having this center in Abuja. So we can still do a similar thing in the state. When you draw them together, you can try to give them some specialized training. So we have partnerships, and as we speak, we also have a group that is coming in to establish a multilingual center. They're interested. In fact, they were thinking of French center initially, because you know presently most of our students that do French, they travel to either Benin Republic or Togo to do their aviation programs. But with this center, they will do it here because they will come with the resource persons. So from UNUYO, from College of Education, the students, even from other states, they can come here, and they want to do that. They want to do that. Almost 80% funding will come from. So we've already made inroads because His Excellency says bring them in, investors. So these ones are primarily with Nigerians, foreigners. And some of them have come to Ikorodaidem to look at, because we want to resuscitate, rehabilitate the place for both technical and vocational training. So we had 2 sets from India, from Germany. They've already visited and they are willing to partner with government. Samsung is already here with us under the Breast Commission. Samsung is here, and they've already established a place in Uyo High School and equipped with 50 sets of computers for the training of students. So maybe that links me to what ICT is doing. Apart from what we are doing with these partners who are coming in, because we are trying to reach out. We've also signed memorandum of understanding (MOU) with the Universal Provisions Fund, an organization, NCC, the federal government establishment, and they have already supplied 100 sets of computers to 43 schools in Akwa Ibom State presently. So with that MOU, we are expecting more to come in from time to time, and they are also coming in to monitor. And we also have a desk in this ministry to monitor how they are being utilized. So the process has started, and His Excellency has also graciously approved and released computers which we purchased for most of the schools, particularly those ones that took part in the competition, the Dakada Grid. So about 250 computers were distributed to these schools. So if you go to a technical college, you have already 100 set of computers installed in that school. You have some in technical college, Abak, and CCC. So our schools are coming up with this. In fact, His Excellency insisted that we should also supply laptops to primary schools, and he provided funds for them to have internet connection, so that our kids can now start. And that is what is going on. Yes, and we've already supplied. And I've directed the Director of Secondary and Higher Education to monitor, to see how these equipment are still being utilized. So at the glance, we are starting something. A lot of people have shown interest, but we are trying to see how we can partner with them. Yeah, so yes, the free education we are talking about, I've always said that we are adding value. And it's changing from what it used to be. Because most of our kids, they play with these computers, many of them. So we have to give them this opportunity. And that is what the governor is interested in. So we are moving from the past into the present. So maybe the issue of local government funding. I must say openly and clearly, having been an elected chairman of government in Akwa Ibom State, that the past administration and present has never tampered with local government funds in Akwa Ibom State. And I can say that with authority. I say that with authority. No governor, including the present governor, has ever tampered with local government funds. So when somebody is asking why can the state leave, I know the governor we have now has no interest in the joint accounts committee of the local government. He knows how to manage the state. He has the capacity. That's why even when people are complaining of non-payment of salaries and all that, he knows how to structure, in spite of dwindling resources, how to get the state going, not with local government funds. And I must also say that the local government, the funds accruing to local government has also dwindling, just like that of the state and even the federal government. So it is not that a state governor or state government tampers with the funds of the, that's why they cannot pay salary. And of course, a joint account committee in Akwa Ibom is so structured that payment of staff salary is taken as first line charge. After that, that of primary school teachers, you know. So what is left is what you manage. And in fact, it's so structured in such a way that the funds that come are pooled. The funds are pooled together so that staff of local government could be paid, the teachers could be paid. Otherwise, if you allow each local government to go and manage, some of them will not get salary, the teachers will not get the salary. Sometimes you see some, after all that has been done, the payment taken first as first charge, that is where some local government may not have something. It's not that the state tampered. It is because it's an agreement that you must pay your staff, you must pay teachers, which is your responsibility. When we didn't have this, by now maybe you have heard, so local government is owing teachers 6 months, so local government is owing staff 8 months, but now you cannot hear that type of thing. So government does not, state government does not tamper with funds of local governments.
All right, for want of time, I'm going to take only just one question. Now, what plan is or are being made to encourage entrepreneurship in secondary schools aside the already existing technical schools?
Well, I know that presently entrepreneurship is one of the subjects which is already introduced in our own curriculum in the school. It is made mandatory that it has to be taken even at the level of school certificate, that you take either a trade subject or subject under entrepreneurship. So that is already done, and what we are trying to do is to introduce that too, to ensure that our technical colleges also take to some of these vocational courses. So presently that has already been introduced in the school curriculum in our schools.
Okay, go ahead, just maybe the final question from you, and then I'll give you a rundown of questions.
Okay, all right, Honorable Commissioner, it's been a very wonderful time. Honestly, the world, Akwa Ibom people should be having a different mind, having heard from you today, because so many things had been misconstrued, but you've set the record straight. Please, sir, do you mind selling Akwa Ibom State? I know we've talked about corporate organizations that are coming in. I think most of them are giving grants. They are coming in to support the system. But how about people who want to actually invest? You know, it's an era of investment under Governor Dom Emmanuel. They want to invest in the education sector, meaning they will sit back and get revenue. They'll be looking for return on investment. Do you think Akwa Ibom has such opportunities for investors, knowing that the diaspora are watching us, what we're doing right now, people who want to come back home to invest, build schools and several others? Do you think that we have such opportunities that can benefit these investments? Sir.
Akwa Ibom is quite conducive, I must say, now, particularly in the education sector. Like I said earlier, I think we've had a lot of investors that have come. Last week I received 2 sets of investors from South Africa. Yesterday there was an investor from Scotland. We received an investor from Scotland interested in the education sector. So what we do is that we have a committee the Foreign Direct Investment Committee. After discussion, what we do, because it has to be centrally arranged, whatever preliminary discussion we have, we now direct them to the appropriate committee, because eventually whatever agreements we have has to be translated into a memorandum of understanding. But definitely I must tell you that we've had lots and lots of investors, both locally and outside. In fact, some of our local people have shown interest in coming into the technical colleges that we have, that they have the technology to revamp and refurbish some of the equipment that we have, and they can somehow partially commercialize what we have. Because if you get to some of our technical colleges, we have equipment there, even though some of them seem to have been obsolete. But somebody came yesterday to say he has the technology to revamp some of this equipment and can be put to use.
Thank you so much, Honorable Commissioner. It's been a very powerful time. Yeah. We would like to know how your ministry plan to generate IGR for Akwa. We know that it's dwindling oil prices. You just made mention of the fact that it's not just local government money that's running dry, even federal and state. So how will the Ministry of Education, is it in your responsibility to generate? Is there a way you can generate revenue for? Because it's not a concern of everybody from Akwa Ibom State. So is there such provision, or are we just teaching?
Well, we may not get so many sources of generating revenue. Actually, education belongs to the social sector, and which is a responsibility of government. But then we have our sources, like we